chapter 17. Now there was a man of the hill country of Ephraim, whose name was Micah. And he said unto his mother, The 1100 pieces of silver that were taken from you, about which you didst utter a curse, and did also speak it in my ears, behold, this silver is with me. I took it. And his mother said, Blessed be my son of the Lord. And he restored the 1100 pieces of silver to his mother. And his mother said, I verily dedicate the silver unto the Lord from my hand for my son, to make a graven image and a molten image. Now therefore I will restore it unto you. And when he restored the money unto his mother took 200 pieces of silver, and gave them to the founder. And he made thereof a graven image and a molten image, and it was in the house of Micah. And the man, Micah, had a house of God. And he made an ephod and a teraphim, and consecrated one of his sons, who became his priest. In those days there was no king in Israel, and every man did that which was right in his own eyes. And there was a young man out of Bethlehem, in Judah, in the family of Judah, who was a Levite, and he sojourned there. And the man departed out of the city, out of Bethlehem in Judah, to sojourn where he could find a place. And he came to the hill country of Ephraim, to the house of Micah, as he journeyed. And Micah said unto him, Whence comest you? And he said unto him, I am a Levite of Bethlehem in Judah, and I go to sojourn where I may find a place. And Micah said unto him, Dwell with me, and be unto me a father and a priest, and I will give you 10 pieces of silver by the year, and a suit of apparel, and your victuals. So the Levite went in. And the Levite was content to dwell with the man, and the young man was unto him as one of his sons. And Micah consecrated the Levite, and the young man became his priest, and was in the house of Micah. Then said Micah, Now know I that the Lord will do me good, seeing I have a Levite as my priest. All right, let's go back up here to verse 1. This is the story of Micah, which just leads to our next story, and has just the beginning of the message of what is actually causing all these problems. Now, verse 1. Now there was a man of the hill country of Ephraim, whose name was Micah. So this is the story begins with Micah, and he is from the hill country, or this mountainous region, these high areas of Ephraim. And Ephraim means the double-fruited, and Micah means who's like God. So he's who's like God. 2. And he said unto his mother, The 1100 pieces of silver that were taken from you, about which you did utter a curse, and did also speak it in mine ears. Behold, the silver is with me. I took it. And his mother said, Blessed be my son of the Lord. So we've kind of come in here, and it seems like the middle of a story. This woman, this mother, the one who would bring forth, is missing 1100 pieces of silver, and her son is speaking to her and telling her, hey, the silver you're looking for, that which you did utter a curse. So she's spoken this curse about these 1100 pieces of silver that she's missing, and Micah has overheard it and told her, I took it. And she said, Blessed be the son of the Lord, my son of the Lord. And these 1100 pieces of silver, of course, this 11 means the disorder or the sin, and the 100 pieces, and the 100 stands for that which is assigned to judgment. That which is assigned to judgment. And these pieces are always going to represent the people, most likely, and the silver is going to be that which has been purged or purified to a degree. That there were taken from you, about which you did utter a curse. And this curse we're talking about is the curse of the devoted thing. As we'll remember, we just finished the story of Samson, and this is what Samson was, this devoted thing. Samson becomes this devoted thing in the end time. And as Jericho was also a devoted thing, and the children were commanded to not take part of this devoted thing, because there is a curse associated with the disobedience of God. And this curse is basically the ramification or the consequences of your actions. And Jericho would represent that lesser light, we remember. So this would all tie together with Samson, who also would be the same representation. And we remember Achan. Achan was the one who was punished, and Achan was the one who hid the silver and this garment in his tent. He buried him there, and he is the one that would be punished. And this is the curse we're talking about, this when you partake of this devoted thing. Verse 3, and he restored the 1,100 pieces of silver to his mother, and his mother said, I verily dedicate this silver unto the Lord from my hand for my son, to make a graven image and a molten image. Now therefore I will restore it unto you. So he gives his mom back the mother back the money, this one who brought forth. And she says, because you've done this, I truly dedicate, once again this is a dedicated thing, the silver, or that which has been purged, unto the Lord from my hand for my son. So for the son's sake she dedicated this that has been purged. And when, verse 4, and when he restored the money unto his mother took 200 pieces of silver, and gave them to the founder, who made thereof a graven image and a molten image, and it was in the house of Micah. And here we're going to find these 200, these witnesses, even these two witnesses, who are assigned for judgment, that will be caused to pass through this purging to make pure. That she takes this silver down and she gives it to the founder, and the founder is going to be the one who will melt it down and mold it into an image. Now we see that she also gave it for a graven image. So part of this price is to carve out this image. This image will be carved out. Well, there'll be some work done to build it up. There'll be some work done to make it. And this molten image is the image how it passes through the fire and is melted, and it's poured over to give it this finish, even as a sign of those that would take part in it would pass through the fire. And it was in the house of Micah, and Micah means who's like God. This is whose house it was in. Verse 5, and the man Micah had a house of God, and he made an ephod and a teraphim, and consecrated one of his sons, who became his priest. And if we read this chapter, or this verse, if we read this verse, and the man who is like God had a house of God, and he made an ephod there. And this ephod is a priestly garment. And if we remember from the translations of the names of the cities in an earlier, they hang this around their neck like jewelry. And this is the jewelry that they're talking about hanging around their neck, this ephod. And this teraphim is no more than a molten idol image, that which they've set up in front of you, give you something to see, because they don't have the understanding to teach you the truth. It is removed from them, so they give you this image to look upon. That way they can teach you to do after the ways of men, and not after the teachings of God. And he consecrated one of his sons. And this one of his sons, this one being the beginning of this thing, the son he would consecrate being the beginning of the end, actually here, because they are taking part of this devoted thing. And he became his priest, or he became his lord, or the one over him. In those days there was no king, verse 6, in Israel. Every man did that which was right in his own eyes. So we see in Israel at this time, everybody was just doing what they wanted because they didn't have a king. So we are led to the understanding that this is why we need a king, because this evilness was going on. No, not at all. Remember, Moses commanded them before they crossed the Jordan. He said, you will not do as you do this day, every man after what's right in his own eyes. You will not do after that. Once you cross over the Jordan, you will not do that which is right in your own eyes anymore. every man shall do what is right before God, not as what is right in the eyes of men, but as what is right in the eyes of God, and that is to be obedient to God's law. 7. And there was a young man out of Bethlehem in Judah, in the family of Judah, who was a Levite, and he sojourned there. So this is where this Levite, now we're going to enter the picture. We got a young man out of Bethlehem. He's come out of the house of bread in Judah, or this one who, Judah means praising, or to cast from the hand, praising, to cast from the hand, who was a Levite, and Levi means to unite, so this is one who would unite, and he sojourned there. So we got this man, he's come out of Judah, and he is a Levite, and the Levites are the one who was given the law in the beginning to rule over it, that they might take the truth and go to the people, that all the people might understand and know the truth and serve God accordingly. Verse 8, and the man departed out of the city, out of Bethlehem in Judah, and to sojourn where he could find a place, and he came to the hill country of Ephraim, to the house of Micah, as he journeyed. So this young man, he's on his journey, and he's looking for work. He used to work in Bethlehem, in the house of bread, and he's gone out of there, and he's looking for work where he could find it, and he's come to the hill country, or these mountainous region of Ephraim, the double-fruited, and he's come to the house of Micah, this one who is like God, as he went along his way. And Micah said unto him, Whence comest you? And he said unto him, I am a Levite of Bethlehem in Judah, and I go to sojourn where I may find a place. So he says, I'm looking for work, and I'm from Bethlehem, I'm a Levite, and I'm looking for work, wherever I can find it. Verse 10, and Micah said unto him, Dwell with me, and be unto me a father and a priest, and I will give you 10 pieces of silver by the year, and a suit of apparel, and your victuals. So the Levite went in. So we see now this young man has just found him a job. Micah, this one who is like God, is going to make him a priest. Now, who gave Micah the authority to make priests? I don't know. Micah is an Ephraimite, and he is not a Levite. He doesn't have the authority to make priests. But he's taken upon himself. He's made himself an ephod like Gideon did. Remember, Gideon made him an ephod, and he made him a little place there he could serve us out of. This today is what we would call any place that men are going to come and gather themselves up and try to teach you something out of their priesthood that they've made for themselves, not being of God. They don't teach the law of God, nor do they teach this book properly. They're going to take it and twist it and make it mean whatever sounds good in your ear, because you ain't gonna pay nobody for what you don't want to hear, and you ain't even gonna listen. Dwell with me, he said, and he says, I'm going to give you 10 pieces of silver. And these 10 is representation of the law, and this would be, he's going to give you these by the year. So he's going to appoint to him these individuals who will fall under this law and pass through its fire and become the silver of it by the year. And this suit of apparel is going to be in representation of this garment that this priest would wear, or the apparel he would adorn himself with. So he's going to get him some new clothing. He's going to get him a change of garments. And it always represents that which it takes to cover your sin or your nakedness. Your victuals, the victuals here are everything you need. He's going to take care of you. He's going to preserve your life, basically, is what these victuals mean. To preserve your life, everything it takes to preserve your life. Verse 11, and the Levite was content to dwell with the man, and the young man was unto him as one of his sons. So we see this Levite, he's just as happy as he can be, and because this man, this one who is like God, is supplying for him everything it takes. He's giving him the money, he's giving him clothing, he's giving him everything it takes. He's paying his way. Verse 12, and Micah consecrated the Levite, and the young man became his priest, and was in the house of Micah. And so Micah consecrates this Levite, and what that means, he sets him to the side. He sanctifies him for this purpose. Micah don't have the authority to sanctify anybody. Micah is committing one of the greatest sins that ever could be committed, because this is an example of what they've done. This is an example of what they do when they take part of this devoted thing. They're going to take, and they're going to make them an ephod of it, the priesthood of this devoted thing, this Samson. They made him a priesthood of him, and they've set it up now, and they've made an image, and we don't know what this image looks like. We can speculate, but whatever it looks like, I don't want to see it. And they've set it up. They've got him a little house built around it. And now Micah's took, and he's got him a Levite. He's even got him a true blood Levite who's going to come out and preach this word of God. This one who God told him that you should teach the truth and the true understanding of the law. But here he's gone off. He's going to do it for profit now. He's going to take the money. He's going to get everything he needs. See? He doesn't have to teach the truth. He just has to do what Micah tells him to do. 13. Then said Micah, now know I that the Lord will do me good, seeing I have a Levite as my priest. So now Micah has conjured up into his mind that God's going to do him some kind of good, because he's took and got himself a Levite and made him priest. Of course, they're acting totally without the authority of God, but we got to remember this is of God, so we can see, so we can understand, we can be a witness to this fact. Now, all right, we're going to move on. This story of Micah and his building of his little idol, his terebinth he set up. This was a terebinth. This little idol he set up there by his ephod, and he's building a little house. We're going to move on from here, and we're going to see what becomes of Micah. All right, we're going to move on to chapter 18.